The system that we're going to talk about is fulfillment. And this is really all about once you have that concept about what your product is, whether it's real estate, whether it's a doctor's office, whether it's offering conferences, whatever it is, the concept that you have in place, the product or service that you have, you have to figure out how do you get it to the marketplace? How do you deliver your products to your end user and make sure that they are satisfied with what it is that you're delivering to them? So delivery of your product service includes ensuring that you understand what it is that your customer needs and wants. You will have already done this in the product development stage, but in the delivery stage, you want to make sure you understood what that need or want was, because you're going to want to make sure that you're delivering against what they really want as opposed to delivering something totally, completely different. It also means that you want to develop customer service criteria and audit your performance so that you can see whether or not you are actually meeting their needs. So when you think about service criteria, you want to make sure that you put something in place that really understands what your customer's concerns are. You also want to make sure that whoever is delivering the service or the product to your customer, whether that's you or whether that's some agents that work in support of you, that they do so in a considerate way, that they're conscientious, and that you always approach your customer with a cooperative spirit. So, for example, if there's a problem or a concern or if something, a complaint from a customer, how do you handle customer complaints? Because a lot of times the way we manage that whole experience for the customer really determines whether or not they will be repeat customers or whether or not they will refer you to someone else. I remember when I worked in corporate America, I was a salesperson, and I had a really large account, which was the Internal Revenue Service. And I remember we had a really bad situation where there was a huge problem. And I remember my thought always was, well, I don't care about the sale. I really care about satisfying the customer, making sure that we resolve whatever this issue is. And I remember going through that whole process and resolving that. I mean, it wasn't an easy fix, but I remember being dedicated to it to the point where I pulled out all the stops to make sure that that got resolved. And as a result of that, ended up having such a great relationship with the customer that I was asked to sit at the table whenever they were making their decisions. And so I knew before anybody else what was coming down the pike. And then, of course, it was much easier to sell to a customer when they trust you and value you and ask you to sit at the table with them. And so think about that in terms of your own customer service. Even if we're not dealing directly with a large organization, even if you're just dealing one-on-one with someone, how willing are you to work with them? How available are you, and how cooperative are you? How considerate are you, and how concerned are you about what your customers' needs are or any issues that they may be having? Then you also want to audit your performance. You need to set up criteria, and then you have to measure yourself against those criteria. You can do this by creating reports that you can then go back and review and track, and whatever you're doing well, you keep doing those things. And the things when you identify areas of weakness, of course, you make correction to that. And then always look for areas of continuous improvement. What can you do to improve? Don't ever be guilty of resting on your laurels. If you look at a report and it says you're doing really well in one matrix, that doesn't mean that you stop there and you call it a day. You have to always improve and identify other ways to help your clients or your customers and make sure that your performance doesn't start to decline. Now, in the area of customer satisfaction, we have to understand how our customers view our products and services so that we can figure out how satisfied that they are with it. You could do things like surveys and ask customers honestly rate their experience with you. And this way you can figure out if there's any issues that maybe need some resolution. You can find out whether or not they're satisfied with your features and benefits. You can find out whether or not they're satisfied with your company and the people that they interact with the representatives, and also the quality of your service. Are they satisfied with how knowledgeable you are or your expertise? And what about how willing they may be to purchase something else from you or even refer you out to someone else? In terms of follow-up, after the sale is made, it's important to kind of stay in contact with the customer and find out if there's anything else that they need, if there's any challenges that they're facing, or anything that you can do to support them. A lot of times if you stay in contact with someone after they've purchased from you, it's very likely that they may refer you out to maybe some friends that they have. And I will tell you, I had a real estate agent that sold me a house, and then I guess 3 to 5 years later, when I decided that I was going to sell that house, I called that same real estate agent. And the reason I did that is because I really valued the service that they performed for me, and had I felt neglected by them, I would not have called them back for the sale. So that person actually made 2 commissions off the same house. And I would imagine that kind of thing is pretty common. Systems are important, and whether it's a paper system or whether it's a computerized system, systems do help you to do your job much more efficiently.